USA has journeyed to Little Rock, Arkansas and War Memorial Stadium, where the Arkansas Razorbacks lead Houston 10-0. Arkansas right now with 6 first downs. They have James Rouse, Derek Thomas, and Bobby Joe Edmonds in the backfield, along with Cal Cagney, a senior quarterback. That's Mark Cal Cagney. Touchdown! Well, for a fellow that wasn't supposed to be such a good runner, they gave us a wrong scouting report on him. He followed his blocking beautifully as he turned the corner and got in for 6.
Well, I think you've used the correct word, blocking, because that was spectacular. That's the way you draw it up as a coach, and particularly be able to seal the defense inside the way they did.
Kendall Trainer has added another, and Arkansas is off and rolling here this afternoon. With 10:51 to play here in the first half, they have a commanding 17-0 lead.
Houston defense respecting the outside pitch, get good blocks on the inside by the tight end and also the first fullback going inside, which set things up for Cal Cagney. And you'll see the sacrifice on the outside as Cal Cagney moves up the field. Number 21 in defense, Greg Purcell for Houston, went with the pitch man, and that allowed Cal Cagney to move upfield.
You know, they have some young running backs in this Arkansas team, and they're getting good blocking out of inexperienced kids. So Cal Cagney following the blocking up front and the running backs in this wishbone set. We saw Army last week, and you know the importance of the blocking ability of the running backs, the backs that are in the backfield with the quarterback. And that time he used them beautifully, and it added up to 6 more.
Remember, it really was Kenny Hatfield who got the Army offense doing what it's doing, because Air Force had some success. Army tried to copy that. And of course, Kenny's brought his own brand of it here to Arkansas. So you would expect the backs to block as well as they do at Army and Air Force.
And they will down the kick here, and that ball goes to Earl Allen. So we bring it out to the 20. Virginia 13, Wake Forest nothing. That is in the first quarter. Some other games: Virginia Tech trailing Florida 9-3, also a first quarter score. Oklahoma State, Kansas 7-7, tight so far. Duke trailing Maryland, that powerful Maryland team in the first. Georgia with an early lead over Kentucky at halftime. And then there's Clemson doing a job on North Carolina State in the first quarter so far. And right back here at 17-0 Arkansas. Landry. And finds his receiver, Anthony Catcham. Charles Washington was the man that was there. He wasn't going any further. We have some video problems, we've just been informed. And we will apologize for that inconvenience and let you know we're doing everything we can to help shake things loose. Indiana, incidentally, leading Michigan in the first quarter. Believe that one? 9-2. Michigan straight is trailing Purdue 3-0 scores of some other games. First down and 10. Houston trying to find a way to get on the scoreboard. Landry on the option, trying to roll left side. He's going nowhere. As Nick Miller is over there. In fact, there are so many red jerseys over there. We'll start with Miller, and you can end it up with any one of the remaining 10. So we are rolling here in Little Rock with 10-12, and the clock continues to tick away with a 17-0 Arkansas lead. Landry so far, 10 rushes, 45 yards. And still, they've not gone to their tight end, Carl Hilton, who was really their main receiving threat. Big guy, 6'4", 233, a senior. On the give, Simmons on the dive. Basil, the linebacker, and a good one, stops him right there.
Well, not a good sign. Cal Cagney's touchdown, that 22-yarder, was more yardage in that one play than he has had rushing the whole rest of the season. It's only 21 yards up to this point. Averages under 3 yards a rush, and if Cal Cagney can pick up that kind of yardage, that's not a good sign for that Houston defense.
Third down situation. Our apologies for our video problems. We're working diligently to correct. Raymond Tate and Dave Dudley, a hard-hitting junior linebacker from Houston, Texas, was there to bump Tate, who was 224 pounds. And that means that Robert Myers will be forced to come in and kick. And he'll go to Bobby Joe Edmonds, who's standing back for Arkansas at the 11, maybe the 16-yard line. So far today, this Myers kid is averaging well over 50. And under a good rush, Edmonds takes it at the 23. Runs into his own blocker, driven back to the 21-yard line. Let's see where they spot it here, as Houston now will set up defensively. And we will be back. Hopefully the video problems will be straightened out. Arkansas 17, Houston nothing. Trying to make their record 6-1 overall and 4-1 in the Southwest Conference. Joe Johnson now, a freshman running back, is in there for Arkansas. And big number 40, the fullback, on a tremendous fake by the quarterback that time, carries the ball well over the 35-yard line. Robert Jones and Orsby Crenshaw, the tacklers.
Here's Gary McGuire, number 51, the linebacker. He's trying to read flow and is totally lost as to where the ball is. It's on the other side of the field. Of course, it's a lot easier from this depth perception. When you're down there, it looks like a Chinese fire drill.
Cal Cagney's the quarterback. Thomas is the fullback. See some of the numbers going on right here. And a flag is thrown on the play. Kevin Alexander, the tackler, but we may have a face mask penalty.
Yeah, I think it is.
The referee on the indication, and there it is, against Houston. Houston's starting to come unwound a little bit, Kyle, and that's one thing they can't afford to do. They've had problems with turnovers and penalties. They can't afford to do any of that here today against this very fine Arkansas ball club. Bobby Joe Edmonds comes in. Joe Johnson, the running back that we talked about, the freshman, will come out.
Well, 10 of their 17 points, that is for Arkansas, have come off of turnovers, the 2 interceptions that have been thrown by Landry. And for Bill Yeoman, he's got a ball club that, well, 65 of the players, freshmen and sophomores, those that have some experience, are really missing the leadership that they lost last year. But what a record he's had, only 9 years in the Southwest Conference. 4 times they've gone to the Cotton Bowl, and he's got to have a great program.
Shebest has come back in. They've got very young linebackers on this Houston ball club, with McGuire and Sexton, sophomore and freshman red shirts, with the sophomores Smith and Britton. So they're young and they're going to be good. And Cal Cagney wants to throw, and he lets it go, and he's got a man, Bobby Joe, and he's going to go. 51 yards to Bobby Joe, and he beat Robert Jones, and he took it in for 6 more.
Yeah, but Luther Franklin is very upset. Luther Franklin is the tight end, and he was open first. There were 2 players that he could have thrown the ball to, and he's going to come back and say, hey, I was open. What's wrong with me? Why you throw to your backfield guys? I'm the tight end.
What do we do? Give back the 6 points then,
well,
Luther?
I mean, you know, you got 2 players that are wide open behind the secondary.
Oh, they're cooking now. Kendall will try and add some more, and does. And away from the ball, a little extracurricular stuff. The official was right over there to bust it open. Let's see it again. 51 yards.
Take a look. He's got 2 receivers wide open. And unfortunately for Franklin, Bobby Joe Edmonds had not quite as much separation, and that made it more of a challenge for Cal Cagney to get the pass in. Franklin was open by about 15 yards, right down the post.
Bobby Joe from St. Louis, Missouri. You know he's pulling for the Cardinals as well as the Razorbacks here today. 24-0 first half action, and Houston has got to find themselves a way to regroup. This is not the same Houston club that went to the Cotton Bowl last year. They won it on the last day of the season. There's Bobby Joe. You got to be a happy young guy, Bobby.
Outstanding kick returner, that young man, too.
Took 3 plays, 77 yards, and only 44 seconds. 51 yards is what it all ended up as, and now Trainer kicking again. And Allen's going to down it right there, and he'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Earl Allen, he averages 20.5 yards a kick return, but not so today. And Bill Yeomans now is trying to gather the troops here, and his quarterback Landry, make sure he keeps his head up and see if they can get back in this game. They trail it 24-0. Look at the total yards so far, Kyle.
Yeah, and again, the key statistic is the turnover situation. Landry now with 7 interceptions on the year, no touchdown passes on the year. On the other hand, Arkansas has only thrown 1 interception the whole year in their passing game, and that was a last desperate pass against Texas last week. So their passing game is really tremendous.
That time the pass was intended for Kevin Johnson, and there he is. So a completed pass as Landry is trying to hang in there. The one problem that Landry has had is with interceptions all throughout his career. 18 coming into this one today.
And there's the pass, gets it over the front man. Had to loft it a little bit. That's a good pass. The ball doesn't look like it's a tight spiral, which is not a very good sign. The better passes are always throwing tight spirals.
Nick Miller's come out. Eric Whitted is in at a linebacker. He's a good one also. There's Landry under a chase by Calvin Williams. And a flag thrown and a late hit over there by number 36. It was intended for Carl Hilton, the tight end, and it was Otis Lloyd. It was locked on to Hilton, and Hilton has not caught a pass yet. And a personal foul is called against Arkansas. That will not make Coach Ken Hatfield, who is an execution perfectionist, happy at all.
Well, Landry gets flushed out of the pocket, and in his chasing, we've got a problem for him because Calvin Williams is after him. There's a shot by Otis Lloyd, who is called the rover back. They're going to call him the roughing back right now because he's picked up the personal foul penalty.
And a first down. So on the first down on the penalty right here, they pick up one. That's 8 first downs so far for Houston. That's unofficial. We're at the 50-yard line. And Landry again. And this time Anthony Ketchum with some pretty good hands. Maybe a little stick-em to boot. Who knows? Charles Washington dragged him down. 24-0, 7:52 to play here in the first half at Little Rock.
Tell you what, Charles Washington didn't drag him down. He drove him down. Watch this tackle by the secondary. A pretty good catch by Ketchum. That's a form tackle for that secondary man.
And again, they've not been able to find the route to Carl Hilton, who is the number 2 receiver in the Southwest Conference with almost 300 yards receiving coming into this one today. Williams and Whitted are the linebackers. Landry again. And there was no one close. Hilton was on the left side, the right side of the line, but they threw it in an area where no one was. And the crowd not happy. Landry getting a big rush now by that Arkansas defense. Well, Arkansas has got the lead. They're comfortable, and Landry with 68 yards passing got a lot of steam on that one.
Yeah, don't be surprised if before the day's out we get a defensive holding call against Arkansas because Carl Hilton is not able to get away from the line of scrimmage. He's being bottled down by at least one player on every pass situation.
2nd down and 10. Ketchum and Johnson are the wideouts. And Landry inside the 35-yard line. Ricky Williams, that sophomore linebacker we talked about, is in there right now. Bill Yeomans has got them moving a little bit. He's going to have to do a lot more of this.
Here's a little pick play by Houston, or an attempted pick play.
I guess it
so
was.
They do some cross blocking there.
That looked like grilled cheese to me, or at least a try at it. 7:01 to play and under now, and on the way to the first half. 24-0 Arkansas. Landry to throw. Knocked down. Big rush. Eric Whitted, the linebacker, came roaring through number 39. There he is. He's 6'1", 207, a sophomore from Dallas, Texas. And he bats it down to bring up the 4th down and 7.
Ricky, left, change it to left. Watch the left.
Kenny Hatfield tell him to watch the fake on this field goal attempt, which will be a 51-yard attempt.
And this, my friends, is Chip Browndyke. You want to get a look at this? He's got a broken forearm, and he's got a cast in that hand. He's going to kick and run to the sideline if he does what they say he should. It's on the way, and good! 51 yards is what they're telling us unofficially. Is that right?
He had a tremendous job to replace Mike Clendenin, who had 19 records at the University of Houston. Ball game now, 24-3 Arkansas. We'll be back with more.
Arkansas over Houston. And if you want to have a number that'll shake your cavities a little bit, Houston has now scored just 2 field goals in the last 3.5 games against Arkansas. And they have not scored a touchdown over that period of time.
Well, they've last 3 times they've played, the total point total for Houston has been 3 points. So they have equalized what they've done the last 4 years against the Razorbacks. We've got plenty of time in the second half to see if they can do some more.
Carl Miller is standing back. That is Forrest Seeley kicking off. And it'll slide into the end zone and out, and they'll bring it back to the 20-yard line. So Carl Miller trying to return that ball. Carl Miller, pretty good kick return. In fact, number 2 all-time at the University of Arkansas. He has almost 900 yards career and an 85, averaging about 23 yards per kick return. So he is a dandy. Rely on him for a lot. First down and 10 coming up. Joe Johnson now, along with Derek Thomas, and Sammy Van Dyke will be the backfield, along with Mark Calcagney. And on the give that time, they will give the ball over to Marshall Foreman. And so the big fullback will be tackled on the play down there by Houston, and could have been any one of a number, but McManus was one of the people there. He is 6'2", 208, a junior. A couple of yards on the carry. 87, Theo Young comes off, and Luther Franklin, another tight end who hails from Houston, incidentally, is in for Arkansas. Shebest the wideout, second down and 8. 6:08 to play in the half. Calcagney. And Calcagney is tackled as he tries to scoot the side. Eddie Gilmore and Gary McGuire. Gilmore, the big man, right in the middle. One of the linebackers in there right now is Andy Sexton as well. Gilmore's number 94.
Look at the rush, the isolation, and try to get some penetration as he's able to slide off the block and to get inside.
And there he is, the big man, T.J. Turner. He's the co-captain, weighs 281 pounds. Calcagney on the keeper. Calcagney breaks loose. And to the 49-yard line. Israel Martin was the only man to save another touchdown. And he got it done. But Calcagney out of bounds as he breaks the midfield plane on a 28-yard run.
Don't want to take anything away from Calcagney because he does pick up the yardage here, but the blocking is so good that no one's getting a full shot on him. And Calcagney, without tremendous speed, is not going to score from that distance, but he does pick up good yardage, and he's reading the blocks very well, and you've got to give Calcagney a great deal of credit for that.
First down and 10, another one for the Razorbacks. Now they have 10 first downs in the first half. They're rolling along as we have a crowd of over 53,000 sold out here at War Memorial.
Calcagney's going to have to do some more distance work because he's not used to running so far. A lot of aerobic conditioning. There's taking a look at the scoreboard that 53,250 take a look at every day here at Arkansas Razorback football.
Doyle Jackson, the referee. I believe that there's a problem with the clock. They have it at 22 seconds, and that is not correct. The timing device. Now the discussion.
I believe it should be around 6:22.
Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the origination of the Arkansas mascot, the Razorback. We'll have first half highlights, statistics, and more. That's all coming up at halftime today from Little Rock's War Memorial. Now they're having problems with the PA system. Well, maybe it's all tied together, Kyle. Maybe somebody's sabotaging the electrical system here.
Well, while we've got a moment, let's just consider what a rare telecast this is. In one game, we're going to see 50% of the Southwest Conference teams that are not under NCAA scrutiny.
As Bill Yeoman, Bill Yeoman is part of the reason for that. He's kept a pretty tight rein on that Houston program, and there he is back in the days when he was playing at West Point. Yeah, Davis and Blanchard and some of the boys, part of that great tradition we talked about last week.
That's right. Earl Blake, the coach.
Is this a way to cure a headache, or what?
Yeah, tradition doesn't help you at all here.
Oh, they're having a problem with the clock, the timepiece here in Little Rock. And the scoreboard tells pretty much the story of a 24-3 Arkansas ball game. I'm trying to figure out where the time went wrong.
I know you're a big baseball fan, Eddie, and I'm sure you saw the game the other night that Kansas City won to make it a 3-2 margin. And the Gatlin brothers singing the national anthem before the ball game. Larry Gatlin, who was the lead singer there, played for Bill Yeoman. Was a flanker a few years ago. Yeoman, who, without, I guess, what Eddie Robinson has done at Grambling, would certainly be considered the dean of college football coaches in terms of longevity at any one place. 24th season. Also remind you about next week, too.
Yeah, next week, one of the possibilities could be a nifty ball game, Oklahoma State at Colorado. Bill McCartney's got things turned around up there for the Buffaloes. And then we may have a Texas Tech matchup. We will be informing you about that on USA Network sometime during the week. The decision is going to be made tomorrow, and we will have that information for you as soon as we can. And for all of you viewers who are regulars on the USA Network, we'll have an opportunity to remind you about that during the course of our regular broadcast week.
And Texas with a big game today against, or tonight against SMU. There's Brown Dyke, who set a personal record with that 51-yarder, nowhere near a school record, as the school record's 58 yards. But also today, Colorado, pretty big ball game. They're playing at Nebraska. Not an easy place to go into, is it?
That's got to be a school record, though, for one kicker with one broken arm.
For one-arm kickers, yeah.
So Brown Dyke will find his way somewhere in the record books. There might be a little asterisk by it, but nevertheless, it is a little ironic that he's out there.
Able to use that centrifugal force of the extra weight.
Yeah. One of the problems Brown Dyke has had, and they keep telling him, get off the field after you kick. He broke his arm, or his forearm, in the Texas A&M game, I believe, one of the recent games. And they keep reminding him, don't worry about it. He's made 3 touchdown-saving kicks on kickoffs, which is not good. And there it is.
No.
They've made the correction, 5:22. Isn't it nice to know that sometime, somewhere in life, we can buy a little extra time?
That's right.
Huh?
Can turn the clock back.
I'll tell you what, the guy that walks around with that long beard and the sickle in his hand, he isn't waiting for anybody. He's hacking his way through time as we talk. Ah, there's a couple of fans right there.
The highest of culture here in America.
That's it.
Right here, War Memorial Stadium.
A couple of the fellas that are regular viewers of USA Network, I'm sure.
Notice there, they got our colors. They got the red on. That's right.
That's it. 1st and 10 with 5:10.
Here we go again.
Cagney again, and a man open. Theo Young, the tight end. And again, they beat Robert Jones, the free safety, and they have been overthrowing that deep coverage all afternoon, Kyle. They saw something in scouting this club.
Well, that's the same pattern that we talked about where Luther Franklin was wide open last time. This time they decided to go back to the tight ends. Finally, the pass not lofted just enough to allow Theo Young to get underneath it. But again, the pattern was open.
Shebest has come in. Cal Cagney's the quarterback. He's run for about 80 yards already. That's a season for him. Give the ball off on the dive play that time to Foreman. And Foreman's carrying a few people with him. Robert Jones, the free safety, the hitter. Well, Foreman's running very well here this afternoon. Added a touchdown. Arkansas with a 24-3 lead. And we'll have the interesting feature on that little fella sitting in the middle of the scoreboard, the Razorback. You want to find out what it's all about? Hogs or whatever? Boy, there's enough of those little logos around this part of the country. Everywhere you go. Buy a loaf of bread and they got a picture of a hog on it. Theo Young and Luther Franklin are in there, the double tight end set now, and on the pitch back, Sammy Van Dyke making music as he turns the corner, and Randy Thornton, the tackler on the play. He averages 6.5 yards a carry.
Well, they finally decided to try to shut down the quarterback, and number 30, Horsby Crenshaw, goes in and takes out Cal Cagney, but Cal Cagney is able to pitch the ball out quite well. And Sammy Van Dyke, who averages over 6 yards a carry, picks up the first down.
And bring it a little here. When you're born in this part of the country, you're a Razorback fan. Make no mistake about it. 4:18, first down and 10. And they been back the ball carrier that time. Cal Cagney, as Gary McGuire, the sophomore linebacker, was the tackler. Cal Cagney getting a pretty good workout.
Well,
I don't know whether
that was a
anything
broken
happened to
play.
Greg Thomas or not, Kyle, but Cal Cagney's been the man most of the way.
Yeah, that was a broken play. No question about it. As Cal Cagney missed on the handoff, the fullback went the wrong way. And that started a series of problems for him.
We have a second down situation. Cal Cagney on the play action fake. Faking to Foreman, going long, and it's Shebest again. Cal Cagney to Shebest. And this young man, who averages over 18 yards a catch career, has his second touchdown in '85. And is he an All-American? They say he is in this part of the country.
Well, I tell you, I would hate to be Don Todd, the defensive coordinator for Houston, or Harold Wheeler, the defensive backman, because they have really lost their keys somewhere in terms of the players not understanding what's going on. Trying to shut down the Arkansas rush game, but they get the death pass. And the Arkansas receivers gotten behind them so many times.
And it's on the way and good by Trainer, and Arkansas is in a commanding lead. And we can see why now that Houston has had problems holding the opposition to anything less than around 32 points a game. A flag was thrown, a personal foul against Houston. It is forgotten by Arkansas, I believe, and they're going to take the point, I would think.
Well, they'll do it on the kickoff.
And they will assess it on the kickoff. And the indication by the referee, and that's the way it's going to be.
Take a look again. Here's the fake, little double team on the nose guard, and people are so wide open in the secondary that you've got a real major problem as Shebest picks up the catch. But the Robert Jones, Earl Allen, Randy Thornton, they're so run conscious. There's the fake inside, and with Shebest's speed and his ability and what they've done so far in this game, they've got to leave some center fielder back there and just say, we're going to try to stop the run with 10 folks and leave a safety back there, because they're all playing run and it's really burning themselves.
So another touchdown pass for Cal Cagney. And it's a 31-3 ball game as James Shebest, who looks like he could be doing some modeling there for members only. Cal Cagney now has 162 or 166 yards unofficially. And a commanding 31-3 lead for Arkansas. So this Houston ball club that has only managed to beat one club, and that was Louisville, although they gave a real good game to Baylor, losing it 24-21. But the rest of their season has been miserable.
Everybody's picking on Uncle Howie up there at Louisville.
And Miami's going to take a shot at him today. And there's Earl Allen, and he's not going to run it back. So they've not been able to return a kick. They've not been able to do anything except a 51-yard field goal, and that tells you something about Arkansas's defense. And they've just not been able to do anything, period, as Arkansas has rolled up another one, a 32-yard touchdown pass to Shebest, and it took 3:09 on time of possession, and all that was 8 plays, 80 yards, 6 more plus the PAT, and it's 31-3.
6 possessions for Arkansas, 4 touchdowns, a field goal, and 1 punt on their first possession, the only time Houston's been able to hold them.
Simmons and Tate, the running backs, in there right now with Landry. Landry, the quarterback. And out of bounds, close to the 23-yard line. Carl Hilton, the tight end, was over there to try and give him a block, but it was Greg Lasker, the safety man who plays right in the middle, who knocked him out of bounds.
Let's watch Carl Hilton, number 84 here, as Hilton will come out and he'll try to put a block on. Well, we won't see Carl Hilton. We'll take a look at Gerald Landry as he picked up good yardage behind the block by Hilton.
Second down situation for the Houston Cougars. 2nd and 7. Landry, the quarterback, with Simmons and Raymond Tate, the running backs. Landry. Kevin Johnson. Good speed. And he made a smart move trying to outrun the secondary. He went to the sideline and took the angle in his favor before he was run out of bounds there by Greg Lasker. Lasker with 4.4 speed in the 40, and I doubt anybody can catch him.
A little fake off the dive, and the toss inside, and the secondary is totally lost as Lassiter comes over to try to corral him, keep it from being a touchdown, and to keep this record of Arkansas defense intact against Houston anyway. No touchdowns the last 4 years.
Johnson, a 51-yard reception that time. Mike Rhodes has come in now. He split out to the far side. Hilton stretched out 10 yards to the right. Landry. And he dumps it off to Simmons, the big fullback, or the running back on the play, Rodney Beecham. 245-pound defensive tackle, pulling down the 200-pound Rockport, Texas junior, Michael Simmons.
Very, very dangerous pitch here as penetration by the Arkansas defense was picked up, and any kind of bobble at all by Simmons, and they're going to, Arkansas is going to get the ball. There's Beecham, number 99, making the tackle.
2 minutes and 45 seconds and rolling toward halftime. Arkansas has been in total command here so far. Landry with a 2nd down and 6. And does barely drive back to the line of scrimmage. Nick Miller had him around the shirt about neck high that time, and he broke loose to get back close to the line of scrimmage, maybe just a hair over. So Landry doing what he could to gain some kind of respectability there, and it's a 3rd down situation.
Houston only sent out 2 receivers. Both of them, those were double teamed, and Landry put under some pressure by the remaining 7.
Nickelback situation set up here for Arkansas. And they'll go short to Simmons and inside the 15-yard line before Nick Miller went over there and pulled him down. And they're down around the 12. So a good call that time by Houston's offense. They threw underneath the coverage and they got the distance they needed to get the 1st down. Coming back in now for Arkansas will be number 31, David Dudley. Defensively, or they change up and they go away from the nickelback set. Landry under a big chase. Anthony Ketchum with good 2nd and 3rd efforts down there to keep it going and down close to the 1-yard line. Kevin Wyatt, who's the designated kick blocker on the club and a terrific athlete, pulled him down.
Taking a look at Charles Washington, number 4 here in the defense, and we'll follow through on Anthony Ketchum as he runs all the way across the field, trying to pick him up somehow. It's a linebacker, Nick Miller, 47, and finally Kevin Wyatt's able to get over there and give some help.
Ball is at the 1. This will be a landmark if they can get in. They've not been able to score in 3.5 games against Houston, and an offside call. And it might have been against the left tackle, Gary Heitman. Now, of course, now at this point, Houston just wants to get in there, and they're going to call it offside against Houston. Gary Heitman, the 269-pound senior tackle, is offside.
And we talked about one of the mental problems that Yeoman has faced with this team. They opened up the game today with a penalty. On the left side of the line, there's a left guard, Roosevelt Johnson, who goes a little bit early, and Gary Heitman catches up with him. So you got 2 players who with illegal motion for Houston.
Ball is at the 6-yard line. Bring it back 5. It's a 1st and goal. So far, 4 penalties for 30 yards for Houston. 31-3. Arkansas. We're down close to a minute, and the defense is getting some support here, and a flag thrown. Yes, sir. Intended for Anthony Ketchum. I don't know whether that was Ricky Williams or who was it, or Kevin Wyatt.
Yes,
Kevin Wyatt, there he is. Well, incidentally, if you're a trivia buff, his dad, John, was a pitcher, if you remember. Played for the Yankees, pitched for the Red Sox, and for the Kansas City A's.
That's really, if you hate to say it, but it is a good defensive play. Secondary coaches, if you're clearly going to get beat, go ahead and give up the penalty, particularly now that the pass interference rules are a little bit different than they were a couple of years ago. It doesn't go always to the spot anymore. You've got a maximum 15 yards and a 1st down instead of going all the way down perhaps 50 or 60 yards the way it was 2 years ago.
3 penalties for Arkansas, 30 yards, and as they try and crack off the right side, Tate, Ricky Williams. Oh, what a pop. 224-pound Raymond Tate tried to drive in between the center and the guard to the right side, and he could not get by Ricky Williams.
They say Ricky Williams had the most awesome spring of a linebacker ever at Arkansas. We take a look at both coaches trying to make these last-second decisions here within 2 yards of the goal line as to what they're going to do.
2nd and goal. Landry falling down, and the pass was deflected. Jericho and Williams were in there, and the heat was on.
Here's a look at the tight end, Carl Hilton, as he finds himself open. The only time he's been open today, I think.
Now, one other time they threw behind him.
The pass tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Third and goal. Ball at the 2. Crowd wants the defense to come to the occasion. 31-3. Arkansas. Landry. Calvin Williams has him pinned.
Touchdown.
Oh, boy, he got it done. Anthony Ketchum. He snuck into the deep corners of the end zone, this time on the right side, and they beat the coverage. And they get on the board with a touchdown, finally, the first time in 4 games.
Well, the athletic ability of Gerald Landry really made that happen as he was able to keep the rush at bay and finally give Ketchum time to break open behind the defense.
Oh, Ketchum, who is a fine receiver, he's only 5'8", about 160 pounds. He's got arms that hang below his knees. This kid is unbelievable. 31-9, and Brown Die kicking, and it's now 31-10.
Ties his shoes without bending over, huh?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Landry here as he's able to evade the rush initially. As he moves to the outside, stutter steps again. At this point, Ketchum is doing zigzags in the end zone, trying to get behind the secondary, and finally is able to find a little bit of a seam in the back corner. Well, that first touchdown, only the second that Arkansas has given up in Southwest Conference play this year. Only the second touchdown they've given up in the last 3 ball games.
6th all year. 3 of those were in the first game. Kyle, they did a good job of containing the, sustaining the drive that time. 80 yards. And their time of possession, impressive, 3:21 to get it done on the 2-yard pass. But it's 31-10. They've got a long way to go. Forrest Seeley will kick it off. And it'll be a low kick. They're not looking for much of a return as Carl Miller. That's to the 20. Head down, 22-yard line, and no more room to glide. And that's where they're going to spot it. And we're down to the final 10 seconds here in the first half. With Arkansas in total command of this one, as Landry's trying to find a way to get his team back in the ball game. So Arkansas with 10 seconds, they'll just run out the clock right here and get set for the halftime break. And again, we will remind you that we'll give you a little background on the Razorback. We'll have stats and highlights and more when we come back. Fumble. There's still time remaining now, and Houston has recovered. Derek Thomas on the carry that time, and Gary McManus has come up with it.
Take a look on the replay as Cal Cagney tries to hand it off, is unable to do so, and the ball pops out. Derek Thomas, the fullback on that one.
That's something that does not happen here very often, Kyle. Only the 8th fumble of the year and 5th by the offense. So now this defense will have to show everyone how good they really are, because Houston with a chance to make a big dent here if they can score in the remaining 6 seconds.
They're going to go for the field goal. They only have 6 seconds left, so they're not even going to try to be fancy and throw the ball anyplace. Yeoman's going to try to put another 6 up on the board. They've scored the last 2 possessions with the 51-yard field goal that Brown Dyke had earlier, and then of course the touchdown here that Landry threw. Another look for Cal Cagney, sticks the ball inside. It must have hit an elbow or something, because Derek Thomas never really had a handle on it. And that is extremely unusual for Arkansas. You would think that with the veer and the flex bone there'd be a lot of fumbles, but Yeoman is quick to point out that most of the fumbles for his team have come down the field or they've come after a player's received a reception and not so much on the mechanics of the veer itself. Here's the man that will face a little bit of pressure. Brown Dyke, one of the very few kickers in Houston Cougar history to have received a scholarship for his kicking ability.
He had 2 field goals coming into this game, a 19 and a 42-yarder. He was 2 of 5. He made the long one, and now is 3 of 6 for the year. Spotted at the 30. It's on the way, off the angle. It hit the field. Hey, it's good. It hit the upright and went over. A 40-yard field goal, and that will end the first half. So Brown Dyke has done his job, and now Arkansas will have to go back and take a little look at the defense as they are out on top, but the defense has finally been. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the origination of the